Hey guys, this is SF, and there is a new game from the creators of Monster Strike called Fight League. It just came out like on the 22nd, so not everybody knows what everything is, but I'm gonna try and kind of give you an overview of how the game looks and how it plays and some pros and cons and stuff like that. But basically, in general, in terms of theme, well actually not theme, like in terms of how you would look at it, it's kind of like a card game. But the way of playing that card game is a little bit different. It's more kind of chess-like. So it's kind of like card game and chess at the same time. But let's first just start with the actual game itself, and now I'll talk more about the different specifics of it. It's more in lines of Hearthstone, Shadowverse. More so, it's more of Hearthstone is Shadowverse more so than like Yu-Gi-Oh! and Pokemon and those types of card games. So I'm just gonna play the computer for now, and I'm gonna select my deck. This is my only deck right now. Well, like really good deck, quote unquote. And I'll run through what you do in game and what makes it kind of different than a lot of other stuff. Okay. And I'm going second. So of course there is a first and second. People that go first will get to choose between. Well, you get a hand of four monsters, and if you're first, then you can choose any of the four at the bottom. After this guy attacks, you'll see. When you're in any other turn, you see there are two sets right now. There's one for one. There's a 1 and a 2. You get to play 2 monsters per turn. And you can only choose from one of each set depending on which monster you're going to. There is a time limit. So you just drag over one. So you drag onto the board, put a monster and drag it to the board, and then they will start attacking and do effects and stuff. Their attack, their range of attack, and like the direction they attack, it all depends on the arrows they have on their icons. So for instance, this guy, Greatest Teacher Clay, can attack from left, right, top, right, and then top right. And then this guy, I'm just gonna put her up and just plop it there. She has an effect that can buff people, buff my characters. We'll get to effects later. But mainly, in terms of turns, you select 2 monsters, one from set 1, one from set 2, and then they will start attacking after they go in. And then after your turn, your hand will refresh. So basically, you don't get the same hand for the rest of the turn. They will get randomized for future turns. Now, in terms of attacking, you see like there are some cool arrows shooting out. And one of my guys died. That's fine. You see cool arrows shooting out. You can also the main part about this game is linking your monsters. You link your monsters by linking their arrows together. You don't have to link like in terms of 2 monsters have to actually have their arrows pointing to each other, but of course that's the best situation. You can just have one monster link it to one guy, and then they can shoot out arrows to other directions and then link monsters to that way. Linking those monsters will make sure that they will attack multiple times per turn. So, and then the best link to a monster is your leader. Your leader can shoot all 6 directions, like all 5 directions. So left, right, top left, and top right. So that's your main way of attacking. It all depends on how you place your monsters, how you make your deck to make sure that you get as many links as you can. Okay, and of course the way to win is to deplete your enemy's leader to 0. They all start at 3,000. Okay, they start attacking. You see one link. Do you see another link? That guy in the middle just shot all 3 of my guys, even though it was not his turn to attack. So that's why you want to link your monsters up. And let's pop this guy in the middle so I can link it to my boss, my leader, and then it'll link all of my guys onto that roll right there and it'll start attacking. There's one, and there is two. So that's your main way of playing the game. Let's see my second monster. Let's use her because of her arrows. I'm gonna plop it here, and then you can just hover it before releasing. You can hold it, and before releasing, you can see all the arrows and all the damage you would do. To make sure that you don't miss any links, or you make sure that you don't get a really bad placement. Okay. Next thing I would probably want to talk about, because it's nearing that time during the game, is the FB button on the very bottom middle. The FB, which is, I forgot, something burst, I think it's fighter burst. Fighter burst will activate once you hit 2000 HP. So I'm not gonna hit 2000 HP from here, but and every single monster has a different burst effect. Some don't even have burst effects. Some don't even have like normal active skills. Oh great, that's not a good monster, but I will get hit by the full burst, I think. Guess not. But everybody has their own FB. This one gives me a 600 shield, so it gives me more HP, more effective HP. I do want to clear that bottom left side, but my monsters are not really fit for that. So let's get my leader to start attacking them. Because he can shoot all 5 ways onto the guys on the left side. Okay, and it's always 200. Every single leader always has the stats in terms of stats is 3000 HP and 200 attacks and 5-way laser, 5-way arrows. So they're all the same. The only thing that makes them different is their burst effect. Every single guy has a different burst effect. So after this guy, after she starts attacking, we will see the opponent's burst. Let's see, burst. What's your burst? His burst is attacks all members for 300 damage. So basically, it attacks everybody on the field, all the minions on the field for 300 damage, and that's pretty crazy if you're really behind. So that's why he's using it now, because all his guys are pretty much dead, and he has nobody on the board to actually take damage for his side. And since my guys are weakened, my 2 and then all my minions will die. Now, in terms of wording, there are members, fighters, and leaders. So, oops, she's dead. But members are mobs only, so like non-leader monsters only. Leaders is of course leaders only. Fighters includes members and leaders. So just be careful of that when you're choosing effects and stuff. And so for instance, this monster can attack one enemy member for 200 damage. So it can only attack either this guy right here or this guy for 200 damage at the end of the turn. For her effect is end of, whoa, lag. But on the end of her turn, so that includes my turn, end of my turn, and also includes the opponent's end turn as well. So that's pretty nice effect. Okay, let's see, let's give her, so she increases the attack of one ally member for 200, so it only buffs up members. So it will randomly choose between the two. It won't buff herself, sadly. But either way, let's start attacking. And just get the links here. As you can see, none of my 3 monsters linked to the boss, linked to my leader. Why do I keep on saying boss? I don't know why. Linked to my leader, so that's why he can't attack. Okay, overburst time. So it's pretty nice if you're... it's pretty nice to actually link to your leader, because you get actual more damage in general. But overburst is basically your sudden death in a lot of card games. So you'll take in damage all your leaders will take in damage every single turn until one dies or until both dies at the same time. Okay, in terms of my deck, so that's why I choose my leader right here, because Of course, I'll be taking damage from Overburst no matter what I do. That's why he has a shield. He has a 600 shield. So technically I have 2200 effective HP on me. Now I'll have 2000 effective HP and he only has 1300. So let's use my full burst, fight burst, and go, press go. And that will give me a 600 shield. So as long as I don't do not take a lot of damage from the enemy in terms of their normal attacks, I will be able to outlast the Overburst from the actual game itself. Let's plop this guy up to just to give me some defense and actually link my leader. Okay, that's fine. 100. That's fine. And let's even be more trolly and put up Scrapper. So if I enter, so the enter effect is when I enter the field. If it in a pinch gives 400 shield to the ally leader. And in terms of pinch, it is when your HP is below half, so 1500 HP. So since I am below 1500 HP, it gives me a 400 shield onto my leader, so I even have more effective HP. This is for this specific class. There are lots of other classes in the game, so that's why it's more in terms of Hearthstone, because Hearthstone has classes as well. Hearthstone and Shadowverse also has different classes. In this game, they are called brands. And it really depends on which style you play. And then of course there's aggro styles, there are defensive styles like this one. There's also really trolly ones as well, in my opinion. But that is the main gameplay. There are different arrows as well in terms of distance. There are long distance and short distance. Long distance can basically stretch out throughout the whole board, whereas short distance can only shoot out across one space. And I'm still lasting, so that's always nice. And I also have another Scrapper up on my team, so I get another 400 shield, so that's even more trolly. So let's just pop it here and just get the shield there. Now in terms of your deck only consists of 10, no, not 10, should be more than that. I think it's like 14, 12 or 14. We'll see in a little bit later of monsters. And since the deck, since you get randomized hands, you can get doubles of the same monster. So that's why I have 2 Scrappers here. So I got really lucky on that end. So, and you cannot bring multiple dupes into your deck, unlike a lot of other card games. You have to really get lucky in terms of getting the right monster. In my opinion, you can't just like say have 3 of Scrappers and have 1 of whatever, 1 of Pixie Cut in your deck, and then you have more chances of Scraper. In other games, you might have more Pixie Cuts in your hand over your Scrapers. But that is the win through the Overburst. Now let's talk about the factions a little bit. Of course, like I said, there are different playstyles of them, and then you can kind of choose which one you actually want to play as. So there are 5. There are 5 guys. So the one that I use is called Justice. Should I use? Let's create a team. So there are 5 classes. There's one that's the one that I use right now is called Justice Professionals. So high HP, so they're all really tanky, and so basically last the Overburst, and then grab shields and do stuff like that and give me effective HP. There's 18th Avenue. It's more about flooding the board for the most part. It's kind of aggro, but not as aggro. Well, I guess it's aggro. In terms of Shadowverse, it's more like Royal, where they buff each other and then have a lot of guys out on the field at the same time. There's GGG, and it's only for long range and supporting. Why you have a support class, I'll talk a little bit about that, and why would you have a support class later. But a lot of their monsters have a long distance, so they can attack multiple guys at the same time, or buff multiple guys at the same time. They have monsters that have buffs that, depending on their range, their arrow range, and if they're in line of their arrows, Next one is athlete creatures. They're just basically power. They're like just like ram you with high attacking monsters. They have high attack stats and things like that. And Toys of the Death. Toys of the Dead is pretty much high attack, long range, and they have a lot of board wipes. They have the most board wipes in the whole and out of all 5 of these brands, especially on some of their really crazy monsters. There's a really high rarity monster that can just wipe the whole board no matter what. Of course, it wipes out their own board, their own monsters, but some of those monsters can summon new new undead onto the board after they're dead. So it's really crazy. So that's a little bit of the brands. Depending on which one you want, then you can find and roll those monsters. Sense. Let's talk about Sense. Sense is all about raising up critical hits. Critical hits means that you do more damage per attack. Of course, it's all chance, so it's not really that big of a thing. And the only way to raise Sense is through fusing of the same ones. Like I said, you cannot have dupes in a deck. So once you get a dupe monster, it will fuse it into the original that you have right now, and then it will increase their Sense. I think it has a max of 6, I think. And then the other way of increasing Sense is through Sense berries. I'm not sure how you get them right now, but you can do that as well. Just grab a lot of Sense, grab a lot of dupes, fuse them in, and then they will automatically fuse it for you, and then you can get more critical hits that way. Next one is Style Change. Style Change is a little bit different. Not everybody has a Style Change. So basically all it does is change their effect as well as their arrows. So right now, the original, the one that I have right now, shoots from top left, right, and then top right, and then it's double arrows and long range. And then the skill is increased attack of all allied members within the range by 100. This one has 1 less arrow, and then of course different arrow positions, but the effect increases attack of all allied members within range of 200. So depending on where you want to place her on the board, she can be really strong. So there isn't really one's better, one's not as good. It just depends on how your deck works and things like that. Also, I forgot there is a freelance. There is a freelance class. Freelance, basically you can place any monster in there, and it's 10 monsters, not 14 or 12. So like I said, you can only have one of the specific faction per deck, but you can also fill it up with freelancers, and basically they can add into any other brand in the game. Some of them have effects, some don't, but they have really high stats and a lot of arrows. Like MC Boombox has like 5 arrows and like 200 attack and like all that stuff. She has 3 long distance arrows, so that's crazy, and things like that. And let's get out of here. But that's pretty much it. And let's go back to why there is a support class from GGG. So as you can see on the top, there is a form a tag. This game actually has 2-person co-op. You can form a team with another friend, and in terms of how that works in game, you remember there is 2 sets. You bring out 2 monsters per turn, and so one guy brings out 1 monster from one set, and then your friend will shoot out another monster from the second set. The merits there, the only good merit in my opinion is that it gives you more flexibility, because if you solo, you can only bring 1 faction in the game against your opponent, but if you do a tag, you can bring 2 factions into it. So right now I only have Justice Professionals. My opponent, if it's a tag, then it can bring somebody from Athlete Creatures, and the other one can be from Toys of the Dead, and that will give you more dynamic strategies and things like that. And also in terms of leaders, you can choose between 2 fight bursts. Of course, you can only get 1 fight burst per game, but depending on the situation, if you're ahead or behind, you can choose one over the other. and the only way to form a new tag, so it is a little bit iffy for people, but it is display a QR code and then your friend will scan it through the second option. However, the QR code refreshes very fast, so I'm just gonna show you a little bit. Like every 3-4 seconds the QR code will refresh, so you can't really do this over the internet. You cannot GPS this, you cannot like fake GPS this. You have to actually be within like talking distance to your friend, like to actually scan the code and form a tag. Like I said, that's the only merit of tagging. It doesn't deteriorate you from any other functions of the game itself. Like you cannot go into this specific duel or battle if you are not in a tag. There is some missions which are called feats that will give you bonuses if you do tag teams, so there is that, but either way, overall it's not that big of a deal. And then one last thing, requests basically it's just your quests, and then they'll give you new ones. It's not like a daily quest, it's more in the Hearthstone type of missions where once you finish one, then it will give you a new one within a certain amount of time, and then you can just clear them up for tags for fight money, which is your currency, your in-game currency for the hatcher or the summon. So basically there's two out right now. There's the only 72 hour one, which gives you increased rates, and then there is the bottom one, which is just your normal one. And in terms of monsters, there are of course 5 classes and 5 functions, 5 brands, not functions, 5 factions, and then 5 brands. Each one has one US class, and then there are several S classes in there. In terms of re-rolling for your account, in terms of your account, re-roll for one. You can stop re-rolling after you get a US monster, because that's the highest difficulty. Of course, you can aim for a specific playstyle in terms of brand, so you might want Kaguya over like Reinhardt and all that stuff. And right now I have Justin's Professionals, and my US class monster is the Greatest Teacher Clay. Either way, you can reroll and stuff like that to get the specific class. I'm not really sure of the meta, so don't ask me about what is the best class right now in terms of meta, but there are different ways of playing, and it gets more different, it gets more dynamic in terms of meta when you have 2 players going at it, having 2-man team. But that's pretty much it for the game. There is PvP, there is the versus player, which you can increase your rank, increase your right now I am B rank right now in my region, and the region is actually your GPS, like actually where you are right now. It takes your GPS location and actually puts you into that specific league, and then once you level up and stuff like that, it will kind of expand into like your city, your country, and then all that stuff. There is CPU, so fight 7, so basically win 7 times in a row, and you can get rewards. There is event battles. There are battles where you can actually get monsters for your decks. So there's one like that's up right now. These are all, in terms of time, these are all times for your specific phone time zone, not the game time zone. So right now it's 4 AM. I'm not actually recording this at 4 AM. I just put it in JST for my phone. But the next one comes at 12 noon in JST, and then you can just backtrack, or depending on your phone, if you have EST, then it'll be at 11 PM EST and all that stuff. Versus player, you can do Fight League, which is league play, and it will take in those lightning bolts up on the top left. They will refresh every 30 minutes. And then there's replay. I don't think they will take in the into the lightning bolts, but you can versus your partner if you have partners. But if you don't, then you'll versus the world, and then this will not give you any will not decrease your rank in any way if you lose, or increase your rank if you win, but the league play does. And then why you want to play League play is there are rewards for League play. Let's see, where are the notices? Where are your notices? There's probably a notice somewhere, but anyways, you can get prizes if you go, depending on your rank and stuff, so it's always nice. But that's pretty much it for Fight League. The thing that I really like the most is just a different playstyle of your regular card game. Like there's chess and there's chess components and there's strategies behind that. The thing that I don't really like the most is the animation length. I'm not sure you can fast increase the speed of it. I'm pretty sure there isn't. So it does get kind of annoying once you start trying to rank up onto those League plays. So that's my biggest in the game. It's just that long animation, and it goes every single time depending on the number of links you make during that game. But overall, it's not that bad. And in terms of hatcher dependency, it's not that big of a deal. You can, of course, there are monsters you can actually get from events that you can actually put in your deck and be useful and things like that. And you also start off with 30 guys right off the bat, and which is really nice in my opinion. But if you have any questions, then go. And also, if you don't see it in your app store, then you go to Co-op if you're on Android, and then, or if you're in JP, if you're on iOS, then you do it for the Japanese store or whatever store that's out right now. It is a worldwide release. Everything's on the same server, so there's no difference between where you live. So there's no difference between some guy in Japan versus me, some guy in Canada, in terms of content or timings or skill level and whatever. It's all luck in the hatcher of your deck or your skill in playing the game. But that's, if you have any questions, comment below. And that's pretty much it for me. It is a very long video, but hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.